Hi, I'm Jack. Welcome back to my channel and another video. Going to be doing a review today for the new A24 film Talk to Me. And this was actually directed by these two Australian YouTubers. It's their first film, they're twin brothers, and they had it out at a festival in Australia last year. It got really well received by critics. So A24 have picked this thing up and now given it a full theatrical release. And, you know, A24, they're a company that, for the most part, they bring out a lot of interesting horror content. You know, they're willing to take more risks with the projects they put out. You tend to get something unique. You know, not everything they've done has worked for me, but for the most part, I'm always happy to have paid money to go out and see something different, especially in horror. And A24 often deliver on that. So that definitely piqued my interest with Talk to Me. You know, the trailer looked fairly good, but again, we get a lot of these possession type horror films, you know, even recently Insidious, all the trailers out in horror at the moment for The Nun 2, Haunting in Venice, all this sort of stuff. So it's not like I was really craving another one of these possession films. But after seeing all the buzz last week, I knew I had to check it out. And I'm glad I did, because this for me is easily the best horror film we've had this year so far, and definitely the most surprising. I haven't been as excited about a new horror like this as I was when I saw Barbarian last year. You know, when I saw Barbarian, 15 minutes in, I was like, I know we're on to something special here. And I got exactly the same thing with Talk to Me the other night. So yeah, it's a brilliant new horror film. If you're into this kind of stuff, I highly encourage you to go out and see it. So let's get into my thoughts. So I won't go too deep into the plot, just because I feel like talking about this in any level of detail starts to get into spoiler territory. But it's about this group of teenagers, and one of them owns this old embalmed hand with this like ceramic coating. It's like this ornament, and all these kids get together and they claim it can conjure up these spirits that you can connect with by touching the hand. And they use it as kind of like this party game, this thrill, almost like a drug experience. And our main character that we're following, Mia, she starts to get really addicted to these experiences, and then they start to bleed over into her real life. So yeah, it does sound a bit crazy and ridiculous, the plot, but stay with me on it, because the way they execute it is extremely well done and very effective. And I think, honestly, I compare this to a horror film like Hereditary, where it's all about that atmosphere they build, kind of giving you that sense of dread the whole way through, where you're not really sure how far they're going to go, what kind of disturbing imagery they're going to show you next. And it's all very unpredictable. You know, it doesn't go the sort of formulaic route that a lot of possession type movies tend to go, where it's a standard story, just lots of jump scares. Here, it's nothing like that. It's all very creatively done and genuinely gives you that unsettled feeling throughout the whole runtime. And for me, you know, possession movies in general, supernatural stuff, is not really the type of horror that tends to scare me so much. I get that more from other types of horror. But this movie, just because of the way it's done, it does find a way to really get under your skin. There's some really creepy scenes here. So just from the horror perspective alone, I thought this was extremely well done. So this really great group of characters here as well. I felt like all of the interactions between them all felt very authentic to me. You know, you've got this group of late teenagers who are all partying together, and just, you know, the conversations, the way they interact, it's just very real, very believable. So I had no problem at all sort of getting myself invested in this situation they were going through. And particularly Sophie Wilde, who's the main actress we're following here with her character Mia. I thought she did a really amazing job, kind of quite like an emotionally demanding performance as well, where, you know, this is a film dealing with a lot of very dark and depressing themes, kind of talking about people who have gone through trauma and horrible events in their past, and how if you don't learn to overcome them or maybe accept some of these situations, that it could start causing havoc in your life, maybe ruining relationships and everything else. And I just thought that she did an amazing job of portraying a character like that. It was a very convincing performance, I thought. So yeah, I haven't actually heard of her before, but really looking forward to seeing her again in the future in more films. This is definitely a film that's not afraid to go there as well. You know, there's a lot of brutal moments here and a lot of shocking moments. I think, you know, these two guys, they are also apparently very good with effects work and stuff like that, so you get a lot of really cool horror practical effects work and a lot of pretty horrific images that will definitely stay with you after watching this. And again, that kind of element of surprise and knowing characters aren't safe just elevates all of these sort of moments of terror. You know, again, not to mention Hereditary again in this review, but that was a film, if you've seen it, you'll know that it wasn't afraid to go to some pretty shocking places, pretty unpredictable story directions. And it's the same here with Talk to Me. And that's how the best horror does it. You want to know that no matter who the character is, you know, they're never necessarily going to be safe. In terms of all of those kind of elements, I think they did a really impressive job. It's a horror film that will definitely stay with you. I really loved the way they decided to conclude this story as well, just because of how many times the plot kind of throws you off about where things might be going. I just was so interested to know how they were going to find a way, or what was going to become some of the explanations for what's going on here. And I liked it because the way they decided to end it, again, no spoilers here at all, but they kind of leave it in a way that's kind of open to discussion, I'll say, after it. But it was very dark, very creepy, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I just loved the way they decided to end this. So yeah, once people have seen this, I'm really looking forward to discussing that ending with them, because for the type of movie they were setting up this story, I thought that was a great way to end it. So yeah, just keeping this one as a short review, just really to recommend that you go out and see this. As I said, I think it's easily the best horror film of the year so far. And I definitely think this one's going to be one of the bigger talking points of the year. You know, last year we had a lot of really interesting, crazy new horror films kind of come out of nowhere. So it was quite an exciting year for horror. So this year hasn't been quite as good, I would say, but this is the first one I would say I've really been excited about. So yeah, highly, highly recommended. I almost wanted to give this one a 4.5 out of 5, but I just want to kind of let that excitement die down a little bit. So I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 5. But I could easily see myself bumping this one up on future viewings. Thanks a lot for watching my review of Talk to Me. Once you've seen this, please do let me know in the comments what you thought about the film. I'd love to get a discussion going around this one. And also as well, I'll leave a couple of links here as well if you want to hear any of my thoughts on some of the other new horror releases we've had this year so far. So please do leave me a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying my content, and I'll see you next time.